In this video, we're going to discuss variables and how to reference variables. Now, there's two types of variables within the sim canvas. The first one that we're going to take a look at is in the variables section on the main canvas. So if I click this variables section, as you can see, we have a pop-up of all the variables that are in our workspace here. So now if I wanted to create a variable, I'll click the plus button. We can have, our variable right here. We can name the variable. So if I wanted to do test var here, we can give it a type, plain, so a string. We have number, we have a boolean, we have an object, or we have an array. I can choose number and I can say 2, for example. I can add more variables with the plus button, rename them, choose a type, choose a value. You can have as many variables as you want here. We can actually expand this as well to make it a little bit bigger. The second type of variable is in our settings. We can go to our environment variables here on the left under system, and we can see all of our keys that are stored in a safe, secure place within the environment variables section here. So as you can see, I have many different API keys that I use in my workflows. So I've added them here. You can make them workspace scoped or personal scoped. So most of mine are personal scoped, but if I wanted to make it workspace scoped, all I'd have to do is select this icon to change to workspace. I'll go ahead and save the changes, and now that variable is workspace scoped. So anyone in your workspace can actually access and reference these variables. Now, the next thing that I wanted to discuss is referencing these variables. So the way in which you reference environment variables is slightly different than referencing normal variables. So for example, if I wanted to use the exa search tool, I'd be able to reference my exa environment variable with two open brackets here, and we can see all of our environment variables in this dropdown. So I'll select my exa key, and now this is an easy way to reference your keys without having to expose them on the canvas. Additionally, now the way in which you will reference a variable from the variables section is by simply using the same syntax that you would use to reference any blocks upstream. So for example, I would select the open bracket, and as we can see, we have the same tag drop down. So I have start, or I also have these two variables available to me. So I'll select test var here, and now we can see the syntax is variable dot and then whatever the variable name is here. Now, if I wanted to actually change these variables after they've been initialized here in this dropdown, what we can do is we can use the variable block. So if we head into the toolbar, we can type in variables block, and now on every workflow execution, we can actually dynamically change a variable as it's running. So for example, we can select test var, we can change this to return a string of 2, and now the agent is going to return a number 1 through 10. And so if we actually run, I'm going to get rid of this exa tool, if we run this workflow, we'll pass in agent content here. So now what will happen is we'll go ahead and run the workflow, and the agent's going to return a number 1 through 10, and then we're going to update our test var to whatever number the agent returned. So let's go ahead and run this. Okay, great. Now we can see the agent returned 7, and the test var is 7. So this is how we can kind of update these variables, and then if we wanted to reference these variables downstream, later on in the workflow, we're able to do that. Thanks so much.